What's up, you guys? If you are seeing this on YouTube, you are catching the live replay. I'm currently live. So let's go ahead and see what questions people have for us tonight on the topic of astrology. One thing that I did want to answer for one of you guys that I did see in one of the questions in the comments on YouTube was for people who are currently in their secondary progressions. They want to know, should they look at their original natal chart or their secondary progression natal chart or their transits natal chart? The answer is all three. The current natal chart or the original natal chart you guys have is going to be the basis of your personality. Then on top of that, you're going to have the secondary progressions, and then everyone goes through different transits. So I hope that answers your question. Welcome to everyone joining. I'm answering astrology questions. So if you guys have any questions about astrology or your natal chart, feel free to ask below. Hey Anna, how are you doing? Welcome to everyone joining. I am answering astrology questions, even metaphysical questions. If you guys have any questions about your natal charts, you guys can feel free to comment below. Hey, what's going on? Epic, how's it going? Welcome. Do you guys have any questions about your natal charts or astrology in general? Thanks so much for the likes, you guys. Welcome to all the people joining. If you guys have any questions about your natal charts, feel free to comment below. Thank you, Abby. That's so nice of you. Very kind comment. Anna says, you're a Cancer sun, Capricorn moon, and rising. What are my thoughts on that? Cancer sun, Capricorn moon is your rising Capricorn as well. Cancer sun, you're going to be very feminine in nature. Again, we're all masculine and feminine energies, okay, within us. Doesn't matter whether you're male or female. So you're going to be very nurturing. Capricorn moon, though, that's that masculine energy. So you might be a little bit more stern, a little bit more traditional in terms of your belief systems, hardworking. You're going to be all about the grind, getting that money, you know, getting that wealth. Like, that's really what Capricorn is all about. Welcome to all the people joining. If you guys have any astrology questions. Oh my gosh, Burner, I thought it was you, but I didn't want to assume. So thank you for confirming. Welcome to everyone joining. If you guys have any questions about your natal charts, feel free to comment below. I am going in order. Let me just go back up. So you're a Capricorn rising. Okay, so Capricorn rising. Okay, so the rising is always going to kind of give you the first impression, you know, who you are truly to people. Capricorn does deal with the bones. So a lot of the time, Capricorn rising people are going to have like a really nice smile. They might have like defined jawline, defined bone structure, these types of features. You're going to be hardworking again. The thing is, Capricorn placements, usually it's second half of life that they have to, it's usually the second half of life where they basically achieve the goals that they are seeking. Let's see, hold on. What else are you guys saying in here? Welcome to all the people joining. Do you guys have any astrology questions? If you do, feel free to comment below. I'm going in order. Let me just go back up. Sun conjunct North Node, is it a good aspect for synastry? Sun conjunct North Node. I mean, I can see that playing out in a positive sense in terms of, you know, you're kind of in alignment with that person's destiny. That could be a way that it plays out. What else are you guys saying in here? Welcome to all the people joining. I'm going in order. Thanks, Burner. What else are you guys saying in here? Ren says, what do you think of Pisces sun, Aquarius moon / Mars / Mercury, Capricorn rising, and Aries Venus? Wow, there's a lot going on in there. So you have Pisces sun, Aquarius moon and Mars, and your Mercury's in Aquarius. That's a lot of Aquarius energy. Capricorn rising and Aries Venus. So all that Aquarius energy, you're going to be ahead of your time. You pick up on trends. You pick up on trends ahead of the curve. Like, you kind of might get an idea in your mind, and it's like, you know, you might think it's the smallest thing. It could be like a fashion thing. It could be the way that you do your hair, like things like this. And it's like, then you see the collective is doing it, and it's like you picked up on that. You know what I mean? That's the Aquarius energy. Your ideas are going to be ahead of your time. When you're younger, you might feel like people don't understand you. That's the thing with the Aquarius energy. They're very intelligent. It's the air, right? But it's like sometimes they have a hard time communicating what they're thinking, and the collective isn't necessarily there yet. I just made a video on Aquarius placements today. Usually what I suggest for Aquarius people is to start where the collective is at and then bring people up to your level. Aries Venus, hold on, let me go back up. I went back down. Hey, FYP girl, welcome. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Let's see. Hi, nice demon. How are you doing? Okay, Aries Venus. So for Aries Venus, I actually have a video on this because honestly, whatever I say is going to just be scratching the surface. You know, they say that Venus falls when it's in Aries because it is ruled by Libra, and then when it's in Aries, it's the opposition, right? The way that I like to see it is I see it as like a self-love placement. We also go through secondary progressions. So usually when you're in your Aries Venus era, you're going to be more so about the self. You might still have relationships, but it's like you're going to have goals. And it's like you want to go after your goals. You're going to be chasing those goals. And if people aren't in alignment with it, you're going to drop those people. That's the thing with the Aries Venus. So you might come off selfish, but the way that I see it is like in a past life, you weren't able to go after these things. You know what I mean? So in this lifetime, you come through and it's like, I put myself first. And then usually when you go into Taurus Venus, when you're coming out of Aries Venus, you go into like that building era. Welcome to all the people joining. Hello, welcome. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Lee. How are you guys doing? Let's see. What are you guys saying in here? Is whole signs more accurate? Honestly, I know. I was thinking about making you a mod burner. Hold on. Let me see. How can I do that actually? I've been thinking about that in the past too. Let's see. If you know how to do that, let me know in the comments below. Whole signs. Okay, so whole signs more accurate. Honestly, the way that I see it is you have to see what resonates with you most. Some people are going to say whole signs is more accurate. Some people are going to say sidereal is more accurate. The way that I see it is like every system has this explanation for things, and you kind of have to see which one resonates with you the most. For example, in Placidus, when there is a sign that doesn't pertain to a house, then it has intercepted signs. You know what I mean? And planets and houses. So that has its own meaning. So it's like in all of the systems, there's a meaning. So what I would say is go after basically whatever resonates with you the most. And when I say that, it's like whatever resonates with your natal chart the most. So whatever your natal chart resonates in the most, whatever system, then you want to read for other people through that way. That's the way that I see it. So I don't think there's any like better or worse, more accurate, less accurate. Let's see. What else are you guys saying in here? I'm going in order, so I will get to all of you guys. Just feel free to comment below. Rima says, what do you think about Leo rising, Capricorn sun, Aries moon? Leo rising, Capricorn sun, Aries moon. Very masculine energy is really what that is. Masculine energy dominated. Now keep in mind, we all have masculine energy within us. But when I say masculine energy, it's kind of like you're going to be a go-getter. You're going to go after, you know, your goals. You're going to go after things that you want. That's really that energy, especially Capricorn. Capricorn's all about elevating the financial status. A lot of the time, I find people who have Capricorn energy in their natal chart, for whatever reason, when they're growing up, there's something going on around finances within the home. It's either like they grew up in a home where it's like there was a huge focus on finances, or it could have been something where there was financial burdens or struggles, or maybe you guys have to start working from a young age. It's kind of like things like this, or you have to take on a lot of responsibility from a young age. Like it could literally be things like maybe you had to take care of your siblings while your parents worked. There's always something going on with Capricorn energy. Let's say you did grow up in a family where there was like a financial security or something of that sort, where you still want to elevate the status. That's the thing with Capricorn energy. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. Thank you so much for the ice cream cone. Welcome to everyone in the chat. Hello from Finland. Hello, Finland. Welcome. Let's see. Nice Demon says, you just finished watching my YouTube video about Saturn and the third house. Amazing. How was that for you? What else are you guys saying in here? Thank you, Lee. Very nice compliment. Hello. Hello. Do you have anything? Yes, Burner. Yes, Burner. I'll figure out how to do the whole mod thing and maybe add you for the next live. Trish, I'm guessing that's Trish. It's TRS. So Trispin Hatas. I keep thinking of Trisha Paytas. Is that what you were trying to emulate your name after? Anyways, you said, do you have anything for Leo in 2023? You're a Leo sun, Taurus rising, and Scorpio moon. Honestly, all of the fixed signs are going to have it a little bit easier because we're coming out of a lot of those intense placements. But then at the same time, Pluto's going to be going into Aquarius. So it's kind of hard to say. I'd have to look at your entire natal chart and look at all of the transits and stuff. Brandon says, how would you describe having a moon in Aries in the 6th house? Okay, so you're going to be a healer is really what that is. You're going to have a healing energy. That's a 6th house energy. People are going to come to you all the time looking for help, looking for advice, like these types of things. Moon in Aries, though, sometimes you might come off impulsive. Sometimes you might be reactive in the sense where it's like, you know, like, okay, Aries energy, the way that I see it is like sometimes they jump into things before they're ready. There's an energy of that where it's like in a positive sense, but there's also in a negative sense where it's like, you know, you react in a situation, you might get upset right away before maybe hearing the whole story or things like this. But the 6th house in there, that's that Virgo energy, is going to be very healing, and you could also be very intuitive and psychic with the 6th house in there. Hello, welcome to all the people joining. Let's see. I'm just going back up. I'm going in order. They say tap on settings on the right side, then go on mods and tap on your name on Google. Tap on settings on the right side. Hold on a second. Settings. Moderators. Add moderators. Oh, I'm going to have to figure out your name. You said Epic. Hold on, let me go back. Epic. Search. I can't find you. I need your username. Can you tell me what your exact username is? Let's see. How do you know what moon or rising sign you are? Okay, so what you want to do is you want to go either on astroseek.com or you want to go on astrocafe.com or you want to go on astro.com. Honestly, just type in birth chart in Google and it's going to give you your birth chart. You're going to need your date of birth, your time of birth, your place of birth, and then it's going to give you all the information that you need. Let's see. Hey, Sean from Ireland, how's it going? Hello from Netherlands, what's going on? Oh my gosh, Korea, hey, what's going on over there? What time is it over there right now? Let's see. Christy says Aquarius and Sagittarius, what would you like to know about that? V squared says, what does Pluto in Aquarius mean for an Aquarius sun / rising / north node? So Pluto going into Aquarius, okay. This is what you guys want to do, okay? So Pluto's going into Aquarius next year. What you guys all want to do is you want to see where do you have Aquarius in your natal chart. It's going to affect everybody in a different way. So you're going to see where you have Aquarius in your natal chart. You're going to see what house you have it in, and then it's going to be going through that house for you. So it's going to be transforming that house. Let's say you have Aquarius in the first house. It's going to be transforming your identity, things about the self. You might be going through an ego death. You might be going through changes. Let's say it's in the second house. It's going to be personal finances. It's going to maybe your jobs. These types of things. Third house is going to be communication. It's going to be siblings. It's going to be short distance travel. That's kind of how it works. Okay. Anytime there's a transit, you guys want to figure out what house you have that sign in that it's going through, and then it's going to affect your house. Now you're going to see what planets you have in there as well. And that's going to add a whole different layer to the story. So Burner says you have Leo, Sun, Mercury, and Mars, and that Pluto in Aquarius. You're nervous. No, there's no need to be nervous. Honestly, at the end of the day, you guys, like anytime there's anything going on in astrology, like there's no need to like hold on to that for dear life. You know what I mean? Still live your lives. Still have a good time. Taurus sun, Cancer moon, Leo rising. What would you like to know about that? Hi, welcome, welcome, welcome. What are your pronouns? You guys can call me whatever you guys want. I'm just going in order. Okay, Burner, I have added you as a moderator. Thank you so much. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? Is it wise for two Capricorns to be with each other in your opinion? Okay, it really depends on the rest of your natal chart. Because honestly, there's so much to look for in terms of synastry. You also want to see what planet you guys have it in. You also want to see what's going on in each other's natal chart. So there's a lot of things going on. Let's see. I'm going in order. So I'm going to try to answer all of your questions. I'm answering astrology questions. If you guys have anything you guys want to know about your natal charts. Aquarius and Sagittarius moon, does it look good or bad? Aquarius and Sagittarius moon, are you saying like with you and the other person, like one person has Aquarius moon, the other one has a Sagittarius moon? Transit Uranus conjunct midheaven, transit Uranus conjunct north node. Let's see, what else is going on? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lisette says, what sign should you read your horoscope? Should it be your progress chart or your natal chart? Oh my gosh. That's so funny. I answered that at the beginning of this live because I'm going to be posting it on YouTube later. Basically, this was a question that I had on my YouTube channel as well. The question was whether you should be looking at your original natal chart or your secondary progressions natal chart or transits. The answer is all three. You want to look at all three because the natal chart is going to give you the basis of your personality, the foundations. The secondary progressions is going to tell you where you're at right now. And then the transits are going to tell you what's happening in the sky and how it's affecting your natal chart. So you want to look at everything is really what it is. Thank you guys. Oh my gosh, so much for the ice cream cones, for the weights, for everything. That's so exciting. So Alex says, what do you think about Jupiter in the first house? So you're basically going to be lucky through the self, okay? So all things to do with your personality. It could even be your looks, okay? It can bring through abundance. You're going to be lucky overall. Like Jupiter expands whatever area it's in. It's also going to bring through abundance in this area. You could be interested in being a manager. You could be interested in being an entrepreneur, these types of things. Anything to do with the self. Anytime you're starting something, starting a new project, having a new idea, all these sorts of things, you're going to basically activate more abundance to come through for you. What else are you guys saying in here? Thank you guys. Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much. Omana says, which transits would you say are the glow up transits? Oh, interesting. I would say anytime anything's affecting the first house, maybe even the sixth house, actually. Welcome to all the people joining. Do you guys have any questions about your natal charts? I'm going in order. Thank you guys so much for the likes. What is Sag Pluto in the 10th house opposing Gemini Sun in the 4th house like? Hold on a second. So Sag Pluto in the 10th house opposing Gemini Sun in the 4th house. That's intense because oppositions usually are going to create a little bit of friction in your natal chart. That could be something that does take place. Now Pluto is going to be your whole generation. Whatever house you have it going through, it's going to be affecting that house. For you, it's going to be the 10th house. So basically what this means is that anything to do with career, anything to do with your public image, you're going to be going through changes. It's also going to be affecting your midheaven when you have the 10th house and Pluto going through the 10th house. That's really what it is. Also, Sagittarius, Pluto is your whole generation. So it's kind of like the whole karma that you and your generation basically incarnated here to clear together is really what it is. Any thoughts, any Leo rising predictions? That's so interesting. I had someone else ask me about Leo rising. Honestly, I usually don't do predictive astrology because I do believe in free will to a certain extent. I do know that next year is going to be a little bit easier for fixed sign placements, but then at the same time, Pluto's going into Aquarius, which is then going to be, for you, is going to be opposing your Leo rising. So there's honestly always something going on in the natal chart. And honestly, you guys, like the best thing you can do is develop discernment, and it's like follow whatever your soul's telling you to do. Like as corny as that sounds, is really the only thing you can do because there's always something happening, and you kind of don't want to live your life in a box. You know what I mean? Where it's like you're like rigid in that sense, where it's like, oh, I can't do this now for this reason because this is happening. Like these types of things. Well, what else are you guys saying in here? Nice Demon says, thoughts on Capricorn rising, Aquarius moon, and Sagittarius sun. Capricorn rising, Aquarius moon, and Sagittarius sun. Okay, Capricorn rising, that's so interesting. There's a lot of you guys in here today. Capricorn rising is going to be very much about the self, okay? You guys are going to be very much, not about the self, but it's like how you guys present yourselves to the world. Ignore that. It's going to be how you guys present yourselves to the world. So Capricorn rising is going to be all about money, wealth, you know, achieving those higher heights. Honestly, sometimes you guys, the shadow of Capricorn is like they're willing to do anything to get to the top. The thing is with Capricorn energy in a natal chart, basically what tends to happen is for whatever reason, there's always a focus on finances when you guys are growing up. That's the thing with Capricorn energy. So there's always a karma surrounding that. So it's kind of like you guys might fall into yourselves falling into situations where you're constantly being tested. Is kind of like, am I going to do this to get this money? You know, like these types of things, because they really want to elevate the financial status. They like luxury, they like having wealth and all these sorts of things. Aquarius moon, you're going to be ahead of your time. You're going to be super connected to the other side. Usually inventors and scientists have this type of placement, the Aquarius moon, again, ahead of your time. What I always suggest for all the Aquarius placements is to write their ideas down because they come in handy in the future. Back in the day, they used to say Aquarius was 5 to 10 years ahead of their time. The way that I see the Aquarius energy now, because the frequency of the planet's higher, everything's happening faster. You know what I mean? So because it's happening faster, it's like, you know, you might be like 2 months ahead of your time, for example. You know what I mean? But it's like, regardless, you're going to be ahead of your time is really what that is. Like, for example, you could have been into astrology before everybody, this type of stuff, you know, or you could have had a certain type of fashion you did, a certain type of hairstyle, a certain type of clothing style, like very Aquarius moon, very quirky, these types of things. It's all about, again, the higher mind in terms of the multidimensionality of things is really what that is. Let's see, Sagittarius sun. So you're going to be very much about freedom, even with the Aquarius moon in there, very much about freedom. You need to be free. Freedom's going to be number one for you. You could be interested in entrepreneurship with the Sagittarius sun energy in there. You're going to need to constantly change with Sagittarius energy, constantly need to change. So even with the Capricorn rising in there, you could be interested in, for example, starting like a business, right? Anything to elevate the status. What do you think about relocation charts? Yes, I do think that that's a thing. Let's see. What else are you guys saying in here? Is it true that Taurus and Aries placements are going to be the star of the year? I'm not sure, actually. Is your relocation chart for polar regions? Many people, houses get swallowed up. Would you read them as they are or change the house system? Thoughts? Hello, Jasmine. Thoughts on Cancer sun, Capricorn moon, and Cancer rising? Thoughts on Cancer sun, Capricorn moon, and Cancer rising. I think I had someone in here. Actually, no, that person also had Cancer. They also had a Capricorn rising. Anyways, okay, Cancer energy in your natal chart, you guys, is always going to be an abandoned type of energy. Keep that in mind. There's always something going on with the mom. There's always something going on. Again, if there's no mom, it's going to be the lack of the mother figure or whoever took on the feminine role in your life. always something going on with the mother, with the Cancer energy. Cancer energy always loves the mother. This is the whole thing here. They love the mother, whether it's a good mother, whether it's a bad mother. There's always like this huge connection to the mother with the Cancerian energy. And it's like the Cancer energy very much wants to be nurtured is really what that is. And a lot of the time they end up nurturing everyone else because that's what they want. And then you have Capricorn moon. So that's going to affect your Cancer rising as well. A lot of that's going to resonate. Capricorn moon. If you were in here when I was talking to the other Capricorn individual, I think they had it in the sun. Basically what Capricorn energy is, they're here to elevate their financial status. That's the whole name of the game for Capricorn energy. They want to elevate the financial status, and there's always something going on with money when they're growing up. So for example, they could be in a single parent household. They could have had to take care of their siblings. They could have had to be part of a family business. It's things like this. And for that reason, the Capricorn moon child, or even the sun or the rising, like wherever you guys have it in your natal chart, that individual always wants to elevate the financial status, because basically you guys have to look at Capricorn energy as like clearing family, I don't want to call it curses, but patterns. Let's call it patterns, generational patterns, these types of things. So they always have this desire, even if it was a family with a lot of money, they still want to elevate even higher. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? Welcome, welcome, welcome to all the people joining. If you guys have any questions, you guys can feel free to message below. Scorpio sun, Leo moon, and Capricorn rising. Scorpio sun, Leo moon, and Capricorn rising. That's an interesting placement. Scorpio sun is going to always have a little bit of mystery to them. I find sometimes there's an energy going on with the Scorpio sun. The sun can deal with the father. So you guys could have had like a cutthroat type of father when there's Scorpio in the sun. That could be something that does take place where it's like very cold, very detached, very blunt, almost energetically. That could be something that does take place. Leo moon is going to make you want to be seen. You know what I mean? You want to be seen. You want to do things where people see you. You know, you want to be creative and these types of things. Capricorn rising, if you're in here, the theme of tonight is Capricorn energy. So if you were in here while I was talking to the other Capricorn individuals, Capricorn energy is basically going to be all about, again, elevating the financial status of the family. That's what it is with Capricorn energy. It's about elevating the financial status. Doesn't matter, again, where your family was at. It's kind of like the child comes through wanting to have wealth. That's what it is. They want to have status. They want to have wealth. They might be interested in having a business. What I like about Capricorn energy is they're willing to listen to mentors if you don't let the Leo moon get in the way. The Leo moon can struggle with the ego, but Capricorn energy is willing to listen to mentors. They're willing to get help. They're willing to basically partner up with people that they see are in positions that they want to be in. Thanks so much for the likes, you guys, and learn from them. That's the whole thing that can happen with the Capricorn rising energy. What else are you guys saying in here? Oh, can you see my nails? Yes! Hold on, can you guys see them? I did snow for the holidays. Actually, this is my favorite one yet. I have a picture of it actually on my TikTok. Greetings, welcome. La Chica says, oh God, Cancer rising. I'm sure you were there while I was talking about the Cancer stuff. Cancer rising, Leo moon, Pisces sun. Cancer rising, Leo moon, Pisces sun. So Cancer rising, all the Cancerian energy is going to resonate with you in terms of like the abandonment. I find a lot of the time Cancer placements deal with emotional abandonment more so than like physical abandonment, but it can be physical abandonment. I find Cancerian placements to be the, you know, to have past lives where they were orphans. Either in a past life they were an orphan, or in this lifetime they feel like they were an orphan. There's just like an energy of abandonment going on with the Cancerian energy, just not being emotionally fulfilled. And sometimes it leaves the child either, you know, overflowing with emotion. Sometimes Cancerian placements can fall into alcoholism if it goes into like the extreme shadow version of it. So that could help. I mean, that could happen. That could happen. Leo moon, if you were in here while I was talking to the other Leo moon individual, you're going to want to be seen. You're going to want to be on a stage. Leo energy, if they are not on a stage, are going to create a stage for themselves is really what that is. You also want to see what's going on with your 5th house. Pisces sun, you're going to be familiar to people. People are going to like you. That's that Piscean energy. Pisces has a lot of karma to clear as well. Same with Pisces. Okay, all the water signs, you guys, have some sort of, I don't want to say addictions, you know, that they have to work through, but they can fall into addictions is really what that is. Because there's a lot of emotions, and the world that we're living in isn't really equipped to deal with emotions, if you think about it, right? So for that reason, they might look for escapes and escapisms. And then you have all the different water signs that deal with different types of escapism. Escapism is on such a huge range. It can be traveling, it can be working, it can be substances, it can be substance abuse. It can just be being out of body. You know what I mean? Being like, I don't want to engage in the world. That could be Pisces energy sometimes as well. They get overwhelmed and then they want to basically go into their shell, into isolation. Alex says, how did you learn about all the zodiac signs? You admire me. Thank you so much. It started with my own natal chart. And then I just started learning and basically connecting it to other people. Then I started to look at other people's natal charts, like people who are in the public eye, these types of things. And yeah, I mean, the more you learn, and you make the connections and you start making all the dots, and you have to really like it because there's a lot you have to learn. And think about it, for every single, planets, you have to learn 12 signs and all these sorts of things. So you really, really have to enjoy it and enjoy what you do. And you have to find a way, like, if you're interested in learning about it, you have to find a way to keep your interest. You know what I mean? So for me, that was connecting it to people that I knew, or again, public figures' natal charts and looking at their natal charts and the patterns. Let's see. Nice Demon says, I read that Leo Mars in the 8th house has to deal with people's projections. Yes. Having people put them down. Yes. Okay. All 8th house energy, Scorpionic energy, all of this energy in a natal chart, even if you're like Pluto dominant, Pluto in the 1st house, that's absolutely true. Because these people are always going to reflect back to people basically what's happening inside. Sometimes it's not going to be intentional, although because Scorpio energy is psychic, what can happen is they can pick up on a person's trigger, and when they're in their shadow trait, they can purposefully put salt in the wound. That can happen sometimes as well. So it's true, you're going to have to deal with a lot of that. And also 8th house Scorpio energy, you guys have to understand, people either love you, become obsessed with you, or they don't like you. There's no in between, because it's like you either really resonate with them with whatever you're saying, or you really reflect back to them the things that they don't like about themselves. When you're more unconscious, what might happen is you might psychically pick up on that person and say things without realizing that you're saying things, and then trigger them in that way. So there's a lot going on with the 8th house, especially also because Leo is all about being seen. So for you, that's also going to be a question, like a thing going on in here. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? No worries, La Chica. I'm going back up. I went down, but I'm coming back up. I am going in order, you guys, so I will get to all of your questions. Jasmine says, yes, you always feel like you're here for clearing generational trauma. Yes, Jasmine, can you tell me what you have your Pluto in? I'm really curious. The Ruse says, Cancer Sun, Cancer Rising, Capricorn Moon. Oh my gosh, that's like the theme of tonight, the big 3 being Cancer and Capricorn combinations. Okay, so for Cancerian placements, there's always something going on with the mother, okay, because Cancer is all about the mother. There's always something going on with the mother. And what's interesting is you have a Capricorn Moon, which then also you could have had a very masculine mother, okay? There could have been an energy of that. Thanks, Bernard. Oh my gosh, you're so awesome. But that's really what's going on with the Cancerian energy. The Cancer energy, sometimes, again, there's always something going on with the feelings. Cancer Sun, Cancer Rising. So people are going to come off super nurturing. People might dump all their stuff on you with the Cancerian energy in there because you're nurturing, and then you might fall into overgiving. That's the thing with the Cancerian energy. So boundaries are going to be a huge thing. All water signs have to basically figure out codependencies and, not merge into another person. Because what tends to happen with all water placements, you guys, you have to understand that it's like, basically what happens is, when you're younger, you might not be aware of your energy, you might not even be aware that you're psychic, that you're intuitive, like all these sorts of things. And because you're kind of like a sponge energetically, like that's water sign energy. It's like you're a sponge, you take on other people's things, and then you kind of come into this energy where it's like you don't know what's your own energy anymore because you've taken on so many people's things. So it's kind of like you'll see water placements sometimes carry like a lot of quote unquote water weight because they've taken on a lot of things that are other people's. So my biggest suggestion for all water placements is always take time for yourselves. Learn your own energy is going to be like number 1 in there. Spend time by water, Epsom salt bath, like all these things to just cleanse yourself. Because the thing is, you can't turn it off. You can do all of the things. You can do meditation in the morning, meditation in the evening. You can like go outside, nature, like you can do all the things. You're still going to absorb. So you have to basically figure out a way to detach and kind of be like, that's not mine. Like don't internalize it is really what that is. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? Welcome. Thank you for the compliments. I'm happy you guys are here. Where was I? I'm going back up. Thoughts on Gemini rising and Taurus moon. Is this both of yours, like your natal chart, or is this you and somebody else? Taurus moon and Gemini rising. So Taurus moon is going to be, well, I don't know. It really depends, because sometimes I find Taurus energy, if they fall into the shadow, they can become lethargic. They might need a little bit of a push to actually get them going. They're very much slow and steady wins the race in terms of like work and in terms of their goals and all these sorts of things. But what I will say to you guys, Taurus energy loves the material things, so they will work. It's just they might need that initial push to actually get going, not to fall into the shadow. Sometimes the shadow can be very lethargic in terms of Taurus energy. Gemini rising, you're going to have to talk. You're going to have to be in a job where you talk. even if you're in a job where it's like you're in an office or something of this sort, you're gonna still be the employee that like talks to everyone, where it's like your manager's gonna be like, you know, don't talk to that person today because you're gonna distract everybody. Like Gemini rising needs to be in a job where they talk. So they're gonna have to talk. It could be marketing, it could be PR, it can be things like this, you know, talking. It can be, again, being like a news anchor or something of that sort. It's also the written word, Gemini energy, but I find it to be shorter form. So it could be things like poetry, it depends on the rest of your natal chart. It could be things like poetry, it could be things like slogans are very much Gemini energy. Gemini energy is very good at taking a big idea, a lot of thoughts, and putting it into one sentence. That's the Gemini energy. They don't have the patience. They don't have the patience to sit through something because they're always like on to the next thing. You know, you're always gonna be interested in different things. You're gonna have a lot of friends. You might come off double-faced sometimes. That could be a shadow trait of Gemini. But again, it's all about integrating the shadows at the end of the day. And Gemini can sometimes fall into people-pleasing as well. But again, it's all about integrating. This is why I love astrology. We want to integrate everything within us. Let's see. La Chica Dorada says, Cancer, Rising, Leo, Moon, Pisces, Sun. I think I did those for you, but you also said you have Venus, Aries, and Gemini, Mars. Okay, Venus and Aries. I actually just did my whole Venus series on my YouTube channel. So if you guys aren't on my YouTube channel, go check it out. It's called Barbara Talks. Okay, that's my YouTube channel. Venus and Aries. So this is the thing. With Venus and Aries, they basically say Venus falls in here, okay? The way that I see it is I don't like to see anything as positive or negative. I just kind of like to see it as like, this is the energy you have in your natal chart. What can you do with it now, you know? And the thing is, we have secondary progression. So Venus and Aries is going to go into Venus and Taurus. Because what tends to happen when you have Venus and Aries, it's like for you, your goals, your careers, and yourself always come first. So in relationships, you might come off selfish. You might kind of leave people if they're not on the same, you know, career goal or have the same ambitions as you. You might leave those people behind. Or even in a relationship with a person, it might be one-sided. It might kind of be like you want them to do whatever you want to do. It could be things like this, quote unquote, selfish. Again, at the end of the day, like the way that I see Venus and Aries energy is like, for whatever reason, in a past life, you weren't able to focus on the self. You come through in this lifetime to be like, no, I'm focusing on myself first. Then I'm going to focus on building when you move into Venus and Taurus. Again, you guys don't have to look at it as a timing thing. It depends on your degrees. Venus progresses. Let's say you're in the later degrees of Venus and Aries, you could have progressed into Venus and Taurus by now. But that's kind of like the idea. That's kind of the idea with Venus and Aries. It's that first house energy. It's all about the self. It's going to be very much like, again, they're going to focus, they're going to put themselves first. And sometimes it's going to be like a self-love energy where it's like, no, where it's like, I'm going to put myself first before everything else. But again, it could be subconscious also. You know what I mean? Let's see. What else are you guys saying in here? Thank you. I don't want to talk. Burner says, yes. I go in order. Thank you so much for commenting below. I go in order, so I will get to everyone's questions. Aquarius, Sun, Sag, Moon, and Rising. Very much ahead of your time. Freedom is going to be the name of the game for you. When you have Sag, Moon, and Rising in there, you're going to be very, what's the word, like passionate, likable. You know what I mean? Mutable energy. Overall, you guys, when you have mutable energy in your natal chart, you're going to be likable. That's the thing. And the thing is, Sag energy, because they're so likable, like they can sell anything to anybody. And the thing is also with Sag energy, the way that I explain it is like they go off, learn something, learn a new belief system, learn, you know, something new and exciting, and they come back and teach it and they think it's the best thing ever, but they're mutable. So next week they can find out something else. And then they want to, you know, they perfect that thing and they think that's the most awesome thing. And then they tell everybody about that. That's the thing with the Sag energy, it's mutable, right? It's all about the higher mind, higher learning. You're going to be interested in maybe PhD, masters, these types of things. It depends on the rest of your natal chart. It could go in that way, but it can also more often than not be through experience. I find the Sag energy and Aquarius Sun ahead of your time is really what that is. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? So are you all asking questions about Capricorn stuff? That's so funny. That's what I'm saying. Like whenever I do a live, there's like a theme. So today's theme is Cancer, Capricorn, and the big three. That's so funny. The Rue says Cancer, Moon, Scorpio. Sorry, you said Cancer, Sun, Scorpio, Moon, Aquarius, Rising. Oh my gosh. You know what's interesting? It's like with the Aquarius rising, to people you might come off like, you know, friendly, have a lot of friends. A lot of the time though, Aquarius rising, even though they're surrounded by a lot of people, they might not necessarily feel like they fit. Because again, they have a lot of friends, but they might not resonate with these people because it's like they're ahead of their time. There's the energy of that. So they're kind of like a loner energy. They're going to be like a floater energy. They're going to have friends. It doesn't mean you're not going to have friends. It's just, you might feel like this inside. And then you have Scorpio Moon on top of everything, which you're going to be analyzing everything. Why did that person say it like that? Why did they do it like that? That's that Scorpio moon energy. Very psychic, very intuitive. And on top of that, you have Cancer sun, which is like just adding even more psychic energy. I find in people's natal charts, I was just talking about this with someone today, in people's natal charts, I find that one water placement overpowers the whole natal chart. And you know why that is, at least from what I've concluded? It's because, again, on this plane, emotions aren't something that's really taught or explored. It's not something that's, I guess, quote unquote normalized or whatever it is, whatever term you want to use. So I think when people have that one water placement, it takes over because it's like, first of all, the water people are taking on everybody else's stuff, because also all of the other individuals might not be paying attention or noticing. So there's that layer to it. And then it's like just everything else that I said previously about like it not being talked about enough. And then you're psychic on top of all of that. You're welcome, La Chica. What else are you guys saying in here? Mr. Deban says Saturn retrograde in Scorpio in the 8th house. Saturn retrograde in Scorpio in the 8th house. Okay, Saturn retrograde, absence of a father figure early on in life. It could be, you know, mental, emotional, or physical. That could be something that took place. Also, Saturn retrograde sometimes. Okay, so retrogrades in your natal chart, you guys, there's so many layers to it. One other thing it could mean is you're relearning that lesson in this lifetime. So you have it in Scorpio in the 8th house. I do have a video on this on my YouTube because honestly, whatever I say is like barely going to be scratching the surface with the Scorpio 8th house energy and Saturn in it. So you can go check that out. It's called Barbara Talks. But overall, like the overall idea is you're basically here to learn about vulnerability, sexuality, mind, body, spirit connection. You're integrating Scorpio's lessons and it's over an extended period of time is really what that is. So when you're younger, you might struggle with vulnerability. You might struggle with expressing your emotions. You might struggle with, you know, even figuring out what's going on internally, like these types of things. Also with Saturn in the 8th, there could have been secrets surrounding the father when you were growing up. What else are you guys saying in here? What are some of the benefits of being friends with you? Jasmine says, 5th house Sagittarius. What would you like to know? What's my big 3? Ooh, you guys try to guess. I always make you guys try to guess. But if you guys know, don't tell the other individuals. Thank you, Burner. I'm just going back up. I went down and I went down and now I'm coming back up. So let me just try to find my spot. Again, thoughts on Aries and Capricorn suns. Aries suns are going to be very childlike in the sense where it's like, it's the first energy. Do you know what I mean? So with an Aries sun, it's like, the way that you have to see Aries energy is like, it's the first energy, is the child learning to walk. They're going to jump into things before they're ready. You know what I mean? They're going to, you know, get excited about something and then maybe get over it in the next moment. Like they're kind of impulsive energetically in that sense. Also, there's always something going on with anger with the Aries energy. They're all about, because again, they're ruled by Mars, right? So there's something going on with anger. So basically Aries energy, the way that I see it is Aries is here to master anger and conflict is really what that is. So learning how to resolve conflict and conflict resolution. And, you know, basically taking anger and channeling it into passion, if that makes sense. Because anger and passion, at least I find it to be very similar energetically, if that makes sense. Let's see. La Chica says, you have Mars in Gemini. What does retro Mars in Gemini? You have retrograde Mars, is that what you're saying? Let's see. The draft PMC says Leo sun, Libra moon, Aquarius rising. Okay, Aquarius rising ahead of your time. And the other individual in here who also has Libra sun, you might resonate with the Libra moon. Here's the thing, Libra energy is here to master balance. Now the thing is, Libra is not necessarily always balanced. You guys have to sometimes look at the signs as like whatever they represent, that is basically what they're here to master. You know what I mean? So for example, Libra represents balance. They're here to master balance. Most of the time when they incarnate, they're going to be in environments that might not be harmonious. That's the thing with the Libra energy, because they're here to balance the energy, or they're here to master the energy of balance is really what that is. Leo sun for you, you're going to want to be seen. You're going to want to be creative. You might be interested in teaching, entrepreneurship, working with children, anything to do with the inner child. Aquarius rising ahead of your time. Libra sun for the Rue, it's going to resonate with what I said for Libra moon. You have Aries moon and Aries rising. If you were in here when I was talking about the other Aries individual, you're going to be impulsive. That's the thing with the Aries energy. Aries is basically here to learn to channel that fire within, is really what that is, you know? And it's like, they can be very good at picking, you know, they can be very good at being like, I want to do this and starting to do that thing, but they drop it because it's like they're not getting the short-term gratification that they want. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. Sometimes Aries energy can like, yes, they can be impulsive. Yes, they can have the positive aspect of like, I'm going to start this and I'm going to start that and start all these projects. But it's like, if they're not seeing results, then they drop those things. It's interesting because then you see Aries go out of Aries into Taurus, where it's like Taurus is building. Taurus is really like slowing the energy down. Let's see. Nice Demon says, go follow her YouTube. Yes, I do. Thank you. My YouTube is called Barbara Talks. What else are you guys saying in here? Leo Sun, Libra Moon, Pisces Rising. If you were in here while I was talking about the other Leo Sun and Libra Moon, it's going to resonate with you as well. Sometimes Libra Moon energy can also have a mother. So the moon represents the mother, okay? Not always, in the sense where it's like sometimes the roles were reversed with the parents, if that makes sense. Sometimes the father took on the mother role, or if there was no mother, it's going to be the feminine, the dominant feminine figure in your life. So maybe it's going to be the grandma. This is going to be the person that you're going to be clearing that karma with. That feminine energy karma is really what that is. So with that being said, sometimes what tends to happen with Libra Moon energy, it's like there could be a mother that's like not necessarily double-faced, but it could be an energy where it's like she says one thing to you and then she goes does another thing. Like there could be an energy of inconsistency that takes place as well. Pisces rising, you're going to be very interested or interesting to other people. Pisces rising like always attracts people in terms of like, people are just always interested in everything that you do. You know what I mean? Let's see what else you guys saying in here. Aquarius rising, you confirm. Amazing. What else are you guys saying in here? Scorpio, Venus does take over. Yeah, that's the thing. You guys are welcome. Scorpio, yeah, Scorpio, that's what I'm saying. Scorpio energy in a natal chart, any water placement in your natal chart is going to kind of dominate the whole chart. This is my observation. Doesn't necessarily mean that's the rule of thumb. That's just what I've observed. And today, finally, I was like, okay, that makes sense as to why. Jasmine, let me go back up. I know I asked you what your Pluto sign is. Oh, I lost it. Let's see. What else are you guys saying in here? D says, what about Cancer North Node in the 8th house? Okay, Deb on air. Thank you. That's a very interesting name. So what about Cancer North Node in the 8th house? Okay, so what you guys want to do with the North Node is you want to see what the South Node is to tell you more about the North Node. The North Node is the direction we're heading in this lifetime, okay? So that's something important to keep in mind. They say that once we complete the North Node, we cross out of the Earth plane. So it's kind of like you have to look at North Node as something that you're working toward throughout your life. So it's kind of like once you achieve it, whatever the goal is, the destiny is, you're done, you get to leave. You know what I mean? So to understand the North Node, you want to see where you come from, which is your South Node. So for you, your South Node is going to be in Capricorn and it's going to be in the 2nd house. In a past life, it could have been very much a life about the day-to-day, the work, climbing the social ladder, the corporate ladder, personal finances, like these types of things. Now you incarnate into this lifetime where it's kind of like, maybe that area of your life is already set. For example, maybe you incarnate into a family where it's like the finances are already set. Who knows? Maybe you have a trust fund that was like saved for you and you don't have to worry about money in this lifetime. So you can focus on the psychic gifts, the feeling gifts, these types of things, because Cancer is all about feeling and so is the 8th house. 8th house can deal with other people's money though. There is that energy as well. So you could be interested in things like, honestly, it's going to be on such a huge range. It's going to be things like astrology, the occult, is going to be joint finances, taxes. It's going to be things like sexuality, you know, maybe being a sex therapist, like these types of things. It's a healing energy, the Cancer and the 8th house. So that's kind of something that could take place. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. Oh, were you guys guessing for me? Hey Cody, what's going on? Oh my gosh, I love seeing some regulars in here. How are you guys doing? Okay, so for those of you who asked for my big 3, I don't know if you guys were listing it below, but I was going through all the questions. That was probably so long ago. Okay, so for the big 3, my sun is in Libra, my moon is in Scorpio, and my rising is in Libra, but it's all progressed now. So it's progressed into sun in Scorpio, rising in Scorpio, and my moon is now in Sag. So I'm in my secondary progressions right now. Yes, you guys nailed it. There's definitely some air. Thank you guys for the comments below. Vicky says, how do you see in a natal chart the transits that makes you possibly meet a lover? Okay, so I have 2 videos on this. Well, you're asking about transits, but I have overall things that you can check. You can check to see your 7th house ruler. You can check to see what's going on with your 7th house. You can check to see what house you have Venus in. You can also check to see your Juno. So you can look at all those things. And I have videos on that on my YouTube channel, so check it out. Let's see. Yay, congrats! My readings are open. They are on my shop, so you guys can check it out on there. My website is, you can go on my TikTok to see my website. You can also go on under my YouTube descriptions. It's also going to be there. I'm just going back up. You're getting Gemini. You don't know what the big three is. Yeah, I get Gemini a lot of the time. It's so funny. A lot of the time, yes. A lot of the time people guess Gemini. Sometimes I get Taurus and I get Aquarius. Those are like the main ones that everybody guesses, which is really, really interesting. Virgo, Gemini. Oh my gosh, yeah, and I also get Virgo. That's so funny. Virgo is another one that I get. It's interesting because my 12th house is in Virgo, so I think I unconsciously behave like a Virgo. Also, when it comes to like work and things like this, it's very Virgo-like. Because honestly, like my philosophy on things is like, if you're not going to do it properly, then don't do it. You know what I mean? Like that's really what it is. So it's like, if you're gonna do something, don't half-ass it, like learn it properly, you know? So that could be the Virgo energy coming through. Happy New Year, 444 moon. How are you doing? Let me go back up. Let's see. What are you guys saying here? When you asked, oh, you said it's in Sagittarius. Okay, yes, thank you. The reason I asked you is because I was thinking that if you have Pluto in Scorpio, that could be the reason that you're clearing a lot of your generational stuff, like in the family line. But that's not the only thing to look for. There's a lot of different things to look for. Yes, I definitely do have air in my big three. The Rue says, going to tell your Aries rising moon husband that how to deal with conflict. Honestly, you guys, I think if people in this world in general could learn conflict resolution, if they could learn conflict resolution and learn how to communicate and learn about their emotions, it would be such a wonderful world. You know what I mean? Because I feel like those are like the main issues, even in relationships. Communication is always an issue. And like, again, I think a lot of that comes down to learning yourself, which is why I love astrology. Because the more that you learn about yourself, the better everything just becomes for you and for everybody else. Let's see. What else are you guys saying in here? I went down, but now I'm coming back up. 444 Moon says, you heard some people say love won't be a focus for Virgo risings this year. Is that true? Interesting. I haven't looked into predictive astrology for the year, so I'm not sure. Cody says, what do you think of the Mercury retrograde? Okay, here's the thing. Mercury retrograde happens every 3 months, so it's almost 4 times a year if you really think about it. It happens often in the year, so it's kind of like the way that I see it now, because honestly, I discovered it so long ago. When I first discovered it, it was like a big deal. Honestly, there's always exes coming back, people sliding into the DMs, like the most, you know what I mean? But it's like, it happens every Mercury retrograde. So the best thing you can do is during Mercury retrograde, just be aware of the energy, and it's kind of like, there's nothing you can do, you know what I mean? It happens so often in the year. So it's like, you can't plan your life around this. But if you start getting, you know, those thoughts in your mind where it's like, oh, I should get back together with that person. It's Mercury retrograde. Check your calendars. You know what I mean? So that's something to look for. But we have Mercury retrograde currently in Capricorn. So what you guys want to do is you want to see where you have Capricorn in your natal chart. Anytime there's any transits, this is so you guys can learn for yourselves and so you guys can know what's going on in your own natal charts. Anytime there's any transit, right now, Mercury is in Capricorn. You want to see where do you have Capricorn in your natal charts, okay? So when you see where you have Capricorn in your natal chart, let's say you have it in the first house, Mercury retrograde is going to be affecting your first house. So it's going to be all things to do with your personality and your ego and whatever it is, right? So who knows? Maybe you and your ex broke up and there wasn't closure and maybe that affected your ego and now your ex comes back, writes you this whole like apology letter and boom, you know, you feel like at peace. Things like this. Do you know what I mean? So it can manifest so many different ways for different people, but that's what you guys want to do. It's like whenever there's something going through a certain sign, you want to see what house you have that sign in your natal chart, and then whatever the theme of the planet is going to be affecting that particular house for you personally, okay? So that's the way to figure out what's going on. But overall, like honestly, don't plan your life around Mercury retrograde. They usually say don't travel, all these sorts of things. If you can avoid it, yes. If you can't, and it's like it's something that's either booked or it's something that you feel like you need to do and you feel like you need to go, I always say go with the heart resonance, because maybe there's things you need to clear when you're abroad. I always use this example, you know what I mean? So you can't always live like, you know, you can't avoid everything in life is really what it is. What else are you guys saying in here? I went down and now I'm coming back up. Thank you, Burner. Thank you for the comments. Mary says, on Lilith conjunct Venus synastry. Yeah, that's going to be hardcore. Sometimes I see Lilith as like a little sister sign to Scorpio. Like, that's going to be hardcore. It's going to be a lot of shadow work in that dynamic is really what's going to happen when you have Lilith conjuncting a Venus. And it's going to affect more so let me think about this. Lilith, so whoever has the Lilith is going to be affecting the Venus person more, okay? So they're going to make that person do a lot of shadow work. Both people are going to be affected still. It's going to be like a magnetic pull, like these types of things. It's kind of Plutonian, but it's still Lilith, you know what I mean? Just shadows coming to the surface. Hello, welcome. You guys, Gemini, because you're talking a lot. Yes. Taurus, because you're earthy. Yes. Libra, because of the nails. Good guesses. Very observant. Yes, I get Gemini a lot. A lot. Nice Demon says, Gemini, you communicate well about astrology. Yeah, I get Gemini a lot. I get Virgo a lot, especially when I'm teaching about astrology. It's interesting to see. It's very consistent. If you look at my sidereal, all my Libra placements are Virgo placements. So there could be that as well. Let's see. What else are you guys saying in here? Any comment with Cancer Sun? Yes, we have a theme of Cancer and Capricorn in the house tonight. Cancer energy. Okay, in a brief synopsis. Cancer energy, you're going to be intuitive. You're going to be nurturing. You're going to be feminine energy, leaning. Doesn't matter whether you're male or female. That's important to keep in mind. We all have these energies within us. So you're going to be feminine energy, leaning. With that being said, you're going to, again, fall into feminine energy like things. Intuitive, psychic, maybe even creative. Cancer is going to feel. You're going to be a feeler. You're going to have to find an outlet for your feelings. So that being said, you're going to have to, maybe do things like art or music. It depends on the rest of your natal chart. Like however it manifests for you, it's going to manifest differently for different people. Is really what that is. Also, there's always going to be something going on with the mother. Cancer Sun can have a feminine father. That could be something that does take place. Or sometimes Cancer Sun can even have an alcoholic father as well. Cancer sometimes deals with alcohol because, again, you have to think about it as like Cancer energy is a lot of feelings. You know what I mean? And it's like we have to learn how to balance the feelings within us. We have to figure out what's going on and all these sorts of things. And most people just escape. So it's kind of like there's always an escapism energy going on with all of the water signs. What else are you guys saying in here? Cancer heavy individual, you love your Sagittarius so much. You make them crazy. I love it. You never understood progress charts. You don't if it says you're a Pisces. I guess you're saying Pisces moon. Oh, okay, let me go back. You said you don't care if it says you're a Pisces moon. Okay. This is the thing to understand with secondary progressions, you guys. Basically, with secondary progressions, what takes place is like you have your original personality, which is your original natal chart, if we look at personalities. Then you have the progress chart. The moon changes every 2 years. So it's going to kind of just tell you like what emotional phase you're in during those 2 years. So it's like by this point, you could have even progressed out of the Pisces moon. You know what I mean? It's every 2 years the moon is changing. The sun changes approximately, I don't want to say every 30 years, but approximately around there. It depends, again, what degrees you have it in. For example, like for me, my sun and rising changed in my early life. Like I was 12 years old when they progressed. So it kind of depends what degrees you have it in. So it's interesting to see because it's like, you'll see an individual, like for the bulk of their life, whatever, like when I say bulk of their life, like kind of like the midlife, is kind of like, that's whatever sign you are. So for example, let's say you started off as a sun in Pisces, and then maybe you progress into sun in Aries for that bulk, that middle part of your life. You're good for the longest. I don't want to say longest time. You never know how long people are going to live. You know what I mean? But for that bulk in the middle, you're going to be an Aries sun. You're going to be acting like an Aries sun. And it's funny because one of you guys mentioned Cardi B. And for me, Cardi B always felt like a Scorpio. And then when I saw that she was a Libra, I didn't understand. But it makes sense now when we look at secondary progressions. She's progressed her sun into Scorpio. Do you know what I mean? But it's like the Libra energy is still there at the end of the day. Like the core is still there. It's an added energy on top. What else are you guys saying in here? Let me go back up. Virgo midheaven. Okay, Virgo midheaven. So this is the thing that's going on with the midheaven, you guys. For the midheaven, you have to see what's going on with the fourth house because the fourth house is going to affect your midheaven. Okay, so with that being said, you have to see what happened in the home life to understand the midheaven because it's kind of like whatever took place in the home. So for you, I see the fourth house is going to be sign of Pisces. So in your home, it could have gone 2 ways. Either it could have been a home that was very open and free and all this love, and it could have been very like suffocating. Like there could have been like a smothering energy that took place in your home. Maybe there wasn't a lot of structure that took place in the home when you were growing up. So you go into Virgo where it's like to the public now, you're presenting yourself as very routine, very structured, very organized. Like the midheaven is how you present yourself to the public. Now it can deal with your career. Sometimes people really focus on the midheaven being just the career, but there's a lot of things you want to look for in a natal chart to really see what an overall career for a person is. And at the end of the day, we have free will. But overall, Virgo midheaven is going to be this. You want to have like a perfect image to the public. It's interesting. Last live, basically what I said was sometimes Virgo midheaven people can like be very specific about what they post online. Again, they want to create like a perfect image. They could have like a very particular Instagram feed, maybe like color coordinated. It's that perfect energy that they're seeking. But honestly, Virgo midheaven, you can pick any job and you're going to be good at it. That's really the whole thing here with Virgo energy. I find Virgo energy to be super competent in whatever area that they pick. So it's kind of like, it really depends on the rest of your natal chart. Virgo energy is going to be healing. You might be interested in being of service. Now, this could be on a huge range. For whatever reason for you, I'm picking up something with pets, particularly dogs. If you're still in here, you can tell me if that resonates. But yeah, it can be on a huge range. It can literally be like being a doctor, or it can even be like being a Reiki practitioner, or it can be like being a holistic practitioner, or working in a soup kitchen. Like whatever it is, it's being of service. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. What else are you guys saying in here? I went back down and now I'm just coming back up. Let's see. Are there any placements you find attractive? Taurus rising can be very attractive. Libra rising can be attractive. Venus in the first house can be attractive. Let's see what else. Those are the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. But again, it can be a combination. And honestly, you guys, like, what is attraction at the end of the day? Like, what is someone who's attractive? There's physical attraction, but then there's also like people who are charming and charismatic. They're also very attractive. So you can have people who have Gemini energy in there to be attractive, Sag energy to be attractive, Libra overall energy to be attractive, because it's like, it's a charisma, you know what I mean? So that's the question, like, what is attraction energy? What is it at the end of the day, you know? Your cousin, who is also spiritual, this is Jasmine, asked you to ask about your Pluto, Scorpio Pluto. Hers is in the second house. Okay, so you guys, you have to look at Pluto as what the whole generation as a whole decided to incarnate to clear in its lifetime, okay? So basically what that means is Pluto and Scorpio is the millennial generation, and they all came through to clear a certain karma together. What did they come through to clear? The biggest thing that I can think of off the top of my head, and the debates that are happening all the time, hookup culture, right? That's kind of the energy that's been imposed on them. There's so much going on with Scorpio Pluto. I actually have a video about this on my YouTube channel. It's way, way back, but I do have playlists. So if you guys go into my playlists, you can find the Pluto videos, which are the generational videos, which that whole generation as a whole came through to basically clear. That's really what that is. I find Scorpio Pluto to be clearing generational things. They're here to clear the mother wound. They're here to clear attachment styles, attachment problems. Because again, where does this whole hookup culture thing come from? It comes from attachment, you know, issues, if you really think about it, right? Because Pluto, Scorpio energy overall is here to basically create mind, body, spirit connection with people, right? And Scorpio energy, as much as they seek that, they also fear it. That's kind of what's going on with the energy. So it's like, it's interesting to see how it manifested within the generation in terms of hookup culture and all these sorts of things, if you really think about it, right? So yeah, you kind of have to see also what was going on when Scorpio was in Pluto when these people were born. Now for your cousin, hers is in the second house. So basically, whenever you guys have Pluto going through a certain house, that's where you're going to go through these consistent transformations throughout your life. So for your cousin, it's going to be in her personal finances. It could be in her jobs. It could be in her career as well. Let's see what else are you guys saying in here. You said you have 6 dogs. Oh my gosh, confirmation. Is one of them like the type of dog I was seeing was like a longer, I don't know the names like of the types of dogs, but the type of dog I was seeing was like a, I don't know, like a medium-sized dog, kind of slimmer. They have like a, almost like this color, but a little bit more orangey type of like longer, I don't know what this area, mouth, I guess, area of the dog, and like ears that are down. That's the dog that I was seeing. Let me know if that resonates. Okay. Let me go back up. What are you guys saying in here? Virgo, Mercury, attractive like Mila Kunis. Yes, I can see that as well. Opinion on 2 Scorpio Venuses together. Honestly, that could work. 2 Scorpio Venuses could work. Honestly, at the end of the day, like for Scorpio Venus, really like another Venus sign, I think would be a good match, or an Earth sign. You know, the air signs and the fire signs of Scorpio Venus isn't going to give Scorpio Venus, first of all, that consistency that they seek and that depth. So 2 Scorpio Venuses, it's like, they both have the depth. You know what I mean? It's like they have the depth that they're seeking. They both want loyalty. It's like you guys are on the same page is really what that is. A Scorpio Venus with like a Gemini Venus, just not going to work. Or even like a Sag Venus. What else are you guys saying in here? You said you have a sausage dog, and that's exactly like one of them. Yay! Oh my gosh, I'm glad that resonates. What else are you guys saying in here? 444 Moon says, so the Cap Mercury retrograde is in your 5th house. Guess no talking stages for now. That's funny. D says, what about Lilith in the 2nd house in Capricorn? Honestly, you guys, Lilith in Capricorn can be so extreme. So Lilith, you have to look at like the shadows in life, you know? It's like the dark moon. I always call it the dark moon. It's the black moon. It's the black moon. So basically, it's kind of like you have to see like what your dark side is, you know? And you have to look at what the dark side of that particular sign is to understand what your dark shadows are, and you have to integrate these within you. Sometimes Lilith in Capricorn is literally willing to do anything to get to the top, even if that means like sleeping their way to the top. Like, for lack of a better term, like an explanation, like that's really the Lilith in Capricorn energy. Like, they're willing to do anything. Like, they can be ruthless, where it's like they're gonna throw people under the bus, these types of things. Like, they really want the status, you know, the promotions, like all these types of things. Obviously, it doesn't have to be that extreme. It can be like on a less extreme version, but they really, really want the status. They want the financial things. They want to secure the bag, like all these sorts of things. So you can really fall into the shadow of that. Thank you guys so much for the likes. And the second house deals with personal finances. So there's that theme going on for you, D, where it's like, it's things around money. So you kind of have to look at the shadow. Sometimes the shadow of Taurus, I find to be kind of like lethargic energetically. It's kind of like they need like a push to get started. They can get lazy, you know, to get motivated, these types of things. So that could be something that does happen, but it's like you've got the Capricorn energy in there that's always trying to basically uplift you. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. Gemini x Venus does not go well. Yeah, that's funny. It's true. What else are you guys saying in here? I went down and then I came back up. Let's see. What is secondary progression? Okay. Secondary progression is basically like every certain amount of years, your planets are going to shift. So it's going to be different for different planets. For the sun sign, it's going to be approximately, again, it depends honestly on the degrees. Approximately, they say it's going to be every like 30-ish years, but it can happen sooner if you have like the later degrees. The moon progresses every 2 years, I know that, and the Venus progresses approximately every 25 years, but it depends where you have the degrees. Let's say your Venus is in like the later degrees of, for example, Aries. You know, when you were younger, it could have already progressed by now. And it's like during that part of your life for the next 25 years, when you have the Venus in Aries, for example, it's like you're going to be behaving like a Venus in Aries, just as an example. So you got to look at everything. But the way that I see it is, I know people are super attached to their signs. When like they find out about secondary progressions, like they automatically have like a repulsion to it. So basically what I say is like, you basically have the core of your personality still, okay? It's still there. So if you were a Pisces Venus, for example, it's still going to be Pisces Venus, but now you have Aries Venus energy on top of that. You're still going to approach things in terms of the Piscean Venus energy, but also now you have Aries Venus. It's kind of like how we evolve. All humans evolve, you know what I mean? So your chart evolves as well. What else are you guys saying in here? Aries midheaven. Okay, we have Aries midheaven and someone's asking about Pisces midheaven. Okay, so Aries midheaven is going to be, you know, it's your 10th house, so it's going to be how you go about approaching your career and even your public image. So to the public, you want to be a leader, you know what I mean? But also you have to look at the 4th house, which is opposing that, to see what's going on, not only how you grow up, but also your internal world as well, in terms of like, you know, how you are in private. So how you are in private is going to be very Libra-like. You know, it could be very fair, very balanced, but when you're in the public, in terms of even, let's say you're a manager, you're probably going to want to be a manager with Aries midheaven. It's like, you know, you're going to be very much go-getter, very masculine in your approach, in terms of even the way that you present yourself to the public, very fiery. Pisces midheaven can go on a huge range because Pisces deals with so many things. Pisces midheaven could be interested in spirituality. They can be interested in metaphysics. They can be interested in art. They can be interested in music. They can be interested in romance, the romanticization of things, film, beauty, makeup, like it's on such a huge range. But overall, like the way that you're presenting yourself to the world with the Pisces midheaven is going to be very like familiar, warm, comforting. It's very much like unconditional love, like high vibrational, like that's kind of like the Pisces energy. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. People hate change. Yeah, they hate change. They get so fixated on one thing. Let's see, I'm going back up. Clara says, how is Pluto in Aquarius going to affect your Aquarius moon in the 2nd house? So you're going to go through a lot of changes in terms of your 2nd house. So it could be things like throughout your career. It can be throughout your personal finances. That's the thing. Whenever you have Pluto going through a certain house, whenever you have Pluto going through, or any transit going through a certain sign, you want to see what house you have it in, and it's going to affect that house. So for you, it's going to be the 2nd house, house of personal finances, career sometimes, because personal finances connect to career, these types of things. Let's see. Thoughts on 8th house, 12th house synastry. That's going to be a lot of past life connections, karmic connections. Is going to be very psychic, very intuitive, in like the quickest of terms, like the first things that come to mind. Let's see what else you guys think. Pluto is in Sag. Yes, that's the Gen Z generation overall. Not everyone in Pluto and Sag is Gen Z. You have the tail ends that are going to be like the outliers. You might have some people that classify as Gen Z, but they might be Pluto and Scorpio retrograde. But that's kind of like the overall idea. The bulk of the generation, Pluto in Sag is Gen Z. Pluto in Scorpio is going to be millennials. Pluto in Libra is going to be Gen X. And then you have the boomers for Pluto in Virgo and Pluto in Leo. Let's see what else we got. You have boomers 1 and boomers 2. What are your thoughts on dominant sign / planet? Yes, actually it's really interesting because it's like, you know, I feel like when you have dominant signs and planets, this is kind of like carrying your personality, if that makes sense. Like you can have a stellium and other signs, you know, but it's like the dominant energy is kind of what protrudes through. That's kind of the way that I see it. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. I'm just going back up. Thank you guys. You keep meeting Cancers. Could this mean something? Can you tell me 444 moon what your rising sign is in? And can you tell me what you have your 11th house in? Exactly. I like the answer that Nice Demon gave you as well. Burner says, what are your thoughts with someone with Jupiter in the 1st trine, Chiron in the 5th house? Hold on. What are your thoughts with someone with Jupiter in the 1st trine, Chiron in the 5th? Is this a synastry question? Is this you and the other person? 444 moon says, okay, you were answering someone else. Let's see. You have Taurus, Venus energy. Interesting. Alzena says, what do you think of Sun square Pluto aspect? It's going to be a lot of challenging moments in terms of your ego. Okay, when you have Sun square Pluto, you're going to go through a lot of transformations on an ego level. So this could be like your identity. It could be your belief systems, like really like whatever your core of your person is, like you can go through a lot of changes is really what that is. Let's see. What else are you guys saying in here? Moon and Lilith 4th house. Is your moon in the 4th house? You're going to be super psychic. There's going to be things going on surrounding the mother that you have to clear. It could be emotional manipulation with Lilith in the 4th house. Lilith in the 4th house can be a challenging placement because it's like you could have had emotional manipulation happen to you, but also at the same time, it's like you could also emotionally manipulate people. Also, sometimes it's unintentional. Keep in mind, you guys, when we have shadows, doesn't mean the person's doing it on purpose. Doesn't mean it's like malicious. Sometimes it's like maybe you were raised that way, especially because it's the 4th house and you're used to that energy. Now you do it. It could be things like so subtle things. For example, like saying like a snide comment because you want to get a reaction out of a person. Lilith in the 4th house can fall into like passive aggressive energy where it's like they might not verbalize how they feel, but they can be passive aggressive. They can say snide things or they can just be like mad for the entire day but not actually verbalize it. And it's like, why didn't you figure out I was mad? Like that could kind of be Lilith in the 4th house. That's what Lilith is teaching us, is to integrate these aspects of ourselves within ourselves. What else are you guys saying in here? I'm going to answer a few more questions and I'm going to sign off. Is it true that if you have an ascendant Pluto conjunction, you tend to bring out the worst others? So you have Pluto in the 1st house. Doesn't necessarily, okay, here's the thing. Pluto in the 1st house is like having the undertone of having a Scorpio rising. I have a video on Scorpio rising on my YouTube channel, you guys. You can check it out. It's called Barbara Talks. So the thing is, it doesn't necessarily mean you bring out the worst in others. It's not on purpose. It's just the Scorpionic energy and it's part of your karma is really what that is. Pluto in the 1st house energy, people either love you or they don't. Okay, they either love you or they hate you because it's like a lot of the time you're going to hold up like a mirror to them. And a lot of the time Pluto in the 1st house, people don't take people's BS. They're going to be blunt, like these types of things. So I guess that would translate into bringing out the worst in people, but I guess you can say it's unintentional. Your rising is in Virgo and 11th house is in Cancer. TikToker says, thoughts on moon opposition Uranus. Ooh, you're going to be ahead of your time. There could be an energy of that. You could be conflicted in terms of actually expressing this though, when you have it aspecting the Uranus in there. It's like, honestly, sometimes I see Uranus Aquarius energy, like, what do we think the future is going to look like? You know what I mean? That's the Aquarius person. Like, that's where they're at. They're already there. You know what I mean? It's very ahead of their time, very ET vibes, very like, sometimes when I tap into this energy, it's very much like in the crown chakra. You know, the Uranus aspects, the Aquarius aspects, it's very futuristic, very much ahead of your time, but you might struggle to express that because a lot of the time what tends to happen with the Aquarius energy is like for whatever reason, well, not for whatever reason, when they're speaking, when they're younger, it's kind of like people don't understand what they're saying because they're ahead of their time and their throat chakra kind of gets shut off. if that makes sense. So you have to still speak, and you have to figure out a way to deliver the message. Because I find Aquarius energy is here to communicate some sort of message. It's that 11th house energy because it's a humanitarian, it's a connector of people, it's here to propel the collective forward, but they might struggle with actually expressing this because it's like when they're younger or earlier on in life, or up until the point where you're aware that you have this energy, you might not actually verbalize it. You know what I mean? So either write it down so it can help you in the future, or what I always suggest is start where the collective's at and bring them up to your level. So for example, if the collective right now is super interested in talking about crypto, you got to start talking about crypto with them and then bring them up to your level. You know what I mean? Or if they're super interested in sports, talk about sports with them, bring them up to your level. The thing is, like, the Aquarius people, Uranus aspects, like these individuals, like they think it's a waste of time. They don't want to engage with people. They don't want to even like engage in friendships that feel like they're meaningless and like shallow and empty, where they're talking about things like this. Like, for example, they might not be interested in talking about reality TV and whatever, all these sorts of things that are quote unquote surface level, right? These types of things, or shopping or whatever it is. But it's like that, if that's where the collective's at, you got to start there. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? You got to start where they're at and then bring them up is really the energy. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. What do you think about, so this is for period, you said, what do you think about Cancer Sun, Taurus Moon, and Gemini Rising? There's a sensitivity to your energy. It's like that earlier quadrant, which is very like childlike in a sense, where it's like they're very youthful. Gemini rising always looks young. Gemini rising can be like 50 and they can still look young. They're going to be youthful. They're going to be funny. They're going to be jokesters. The Gemini energy is really going to kind of soften up the Cancer energy for you, because Cancer, it's like, it's all about feeling. You know what I mean? Gemini is going to pull you out to want to go have fun and meet friends and, you know, do all these sorts of exciting things. And then Taurus Moon is going to want you to work hard towards your goals, towards your ambitions. But what I was saying earlier as well for Taurus energy, sometimes they need the push. Thanks you guys so much for the likes. Sometimes Taurus energy needs the push. Sometimes they can fall into lethargic energy. I see them very like a slow type of energy. You know what I mean? They get to their goal, but it's like, it's very slow. And sometimes they can be stubborn. The thing is, like, okay, here's the thing with all the earth signs, okay? The Taurus energy is the earlier earth sign, right? So Taurus energy can be stubborn in the sense, and they're fixed, where it's like they're so stubborn that it's almost like they have blinders on. You know what I mean? They're like, this is my goal and I've set out my plan and I'm going to go about achieving my goal in this way, you know? And it's like, but maybe there's another way to do it. You know what I mean? Because then Virgo energy, which is the next earth sign, comes along and it's like, well, it's a routine. Let's switch it up. Virgo's mutable. You know, it's like, maybe we don't have to focus on this thing. We can focus on that thing. And Virgo's going to continuously do it. And it's like, until they find another thing, they're going to continuously do it. And then finally you have the Capricorn energy, which is like the final earth sign. I guess you can look at it as like a more mature earth sign. Capricorn energy is kind of like, I'm going to listen to mentors. That's the thing. That's kind of like the difference when you look at like the progressions of all of the signs, right? Taurus energy is very much, they can be very much with blinders on. They're like, no, this works for me. It's like egoic in that sense. All the fixed signs struggle with the ego in one way, shape, or form, and they want the comfort. They like the comfort, and it's hard for them to change. So it's like, if Taurus energy picked up on a plan and they're like, I'm going to go about achieving my plan this way, it's going to be hard to pull them out of that, even if it's for their best, like higher good. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what's going on in there. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? I'm going to answer one or two more questions and sign off. Leo moon in the 12th house. Ooh, that's karmic. Any placements in the 12th house are going to be karmic. You have a lot of knowledge from a past life, but also what's coming through for you is like, you came in this lifetime to basically clear through something on an emotional level that wasn't cleared in a past life. And it's going to deal with the father for you in terms of Leo, and it's going to deal with your creativity. So it's going to be really important for you to express yourself creatively, be seen. Yeah, all of the fire signs deal with the father in one way, shape, or form. They're always trying to unconsciously get the attention of the father. Now, whether that's to make the father proud, whether that's to have the father say, oh my gosh, I love what you did. They're always unconsciously trying to basically get the attention of the father. What else are you guys saying in here? What if your North Node falls in his 12th house? Past life connection. Let's see. Okay, final question. What advice can you give for Capricorn Sun, Virgo Rising, Leo Moon? Okay, so thank you guys so much for the likes. So Virgo Rising is going to be royalty from a past life. A lot of the time people are going to say things like, how are they royalty from a past life? Not everyone could have been royalty, blah, blah, blah. Different planes of existence. You carry that energy within you. Do you know what I mean? In a last life, you were treated like royalty. You come into this lifetime and you're like, now I expect to be treated like royalty. You know what I mean? And a lot of the time you might not get that energy in return. And it's like, wait, hold on. Like, what's going on? Especially when you're like a young kid. Like, it's so funny. Like, Virgo rising can be, for example, like, I don't know, for Halloween, when they were a kid, they always want to be like a prince or a princess, like these types of things. Like, they always carry that energy within them. And then on top of that, you have Leo moon, so it's like double of that royalty energy. Like you want people to praise you, especially with the Leo moon. So Leo moon's gonna have to be seen. That's the whole thing to understand. With Leo energy anywhere in your natal chart, you guys, Leo energy is on a range, okay? So it can be things like working with children, expressing the inner child, theater, acting. It could be things like having a YouTube channel, being on a stage, doing theater, doing Broadway, depends on the rest of your natal chart. It can be things like entrepreneurship, management. For you, because you've got Capricorn, Sun, and Virgo rising in there, it could be more so things in like the corporate world, being a manager, having your own business, you know, starting things, starting projects, being seen. Like Leo moon wants to be like, you know, doing the presentations where it's like, this is my company, you know what I mean? And I created this. Like they love that. They love that admiration. The thing is with Leo moon, they're very childlike. Sometimes they can be overshares in terms of their information. Sometimes they can be overshares in terms of their plans. They're going to have a lot of friends. They're going to have a lot of different friend groups. And in Capricorn Sun, all Capricorn placements are elevating the financial status of the line. That's the whole thing to understand. All Capricorn energy basically incarnates here. Hey, awesome, welcome. All Capricorn energy basically incarnates to clear financial karma within the family line in one way, shape, or form. And it can even be status of the family line. So I always give the example, like, for example, Capricorn Sun or Capricorn energy anywhere in your natal chart can be like when you were growing up, maybe it was a single parent household, or maybe you had to take care of your siblings, or maybe you had to work in the family business, or for whatever reason, there was like the parents were busy working, you know, and it's like there wasn't a focus on the child or something of the sort, where it's like, again, there's a focus on money. From a young age, the Capricorn energy in a natal chart becomes very aware of money and financial matters and how important that is. And you guys always want to elevate the financial status. That's really what that is. Even if there is money, that's the thing to understand. Even if there is money, maybe you guys were in a family where it's like, you know, you were a wealthy family, but maybe there was a divorce that happened and the parents kind of use money against each other, this type of stuff, right? So there's always a focus on money for Capricorn energy. All right, my friends, I'm going to log off now. Thanks so much for joining. Make sure you guys look up my YouTube. It's called Barbara Talks. I go way more in depth on there. Thanks for being here. Thanks to Burner for being a moderator. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your evening.